Imagine a future where your days are spent in a dark smog. There's a foul stench in the air, and there's respiratory illnesses all around. This is the future that awaits us with our continued use of fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are negatively impacting us and our environment, and it is imperative that we focus on using and developing clean, renewable energy. Through research, I discovered just how important it is to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels and why we should all be concerned. Today I will show you what fossil fuels are and how they are harming us and the environment, and I'd like to point out some alternatives that are clean and better for the environment. First, let's take a look at what fossil fuels are. Now, fossil fuels are what we use as a form of energy, and our main use is transportation. According to Scott Drury, the president of San Diego Gas and Electric, transportation is the biggest use of fossil fuels. In big cities like San Diego, transportation accounts for 50% of all harmful emissions that are produced in the city. Fossil fuels can be broken down in a few main categories, and they involve the use of coal, oil, and gas. Now, these three account for 70% of energy use in the United States. The two that create the most pollution are coal and oil, and they'll be the ones that we'll be looking at. Uh, Coal creates about 15% of the energy that we use in the United States, and it creates large amounts of CO2 and nitrogen oxides when we burn it. Now, these gases can be harmful to the environment as they contribute to global warming and they contribute to smog, providing health hazards. Now, the mining of coal damages the environment by digging into it, interrupting the natural flow of things, and the most invasive kind of mining is going to be mountaintop removal, where they take away the tops of mountains and to get to the minerals inside, and thus so destroying the eco life on top. Another a harmful byproduct of mining is the production of coal sludge and fly ash, which is a burnt coal waste, and they're both toxic to the environment and to humans. Oil is another fossil fuel, and it is processed at refineries. And refineries themselves produce a little pollution as they process these materials. Oil also has the potential to spill, and it does quite a lot. Ocean oil spills can produce a large amount of damage to marine life and life in general. According to Larry West in his 2018 ThoughtCo article, uh, oil spills can harm fish populations by damaging eggs, making them unable to hatch, and therefore affecting generations of fish and their ability to reproduce, potentially killing off species. It can also harm birds by affecting their flights, keeping them grounded, and it affects their ability to insulate themselves, leading to hypothermia. Now, here's one example of one bird that got caught up in oil, and as you can see, he's just covered, and he was likely died from just actually the toxins from the oil, but it's entirely possible he died from hypothermia as he lost his ability to insulate himself. Now that we've covered what fossil fuels are and why they are bad for the environment, let's take a look at some clean alternatives. Clean energy is preferable because it doesn't give off nearly as much pollution, if any, as fossil fuels. And it involves the use of renewable resources rather than finite resources such as fossil fuels. It uses sources such as wind, and this wind is harnessed by turbines. Turbines, according to the Department of Energy, provided 89,000 megawatts of electricity in 2017, which is enough to power 24 million average American homes. Water is another natural renewable resource that could be utilized to produce electricity, and that involves the use of hydroelectric dams. Harnesses the flow of the water and turns a drive shaft, allowing the generator to produce electricity. Another form of renewable energy is the sun. Through use of solar panels, we're able to harness the power of the sun to power the things we need to, giving off little to no pollution. We need to increase the use of clean energies in order to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels. In closing, fossil fuels are negatively impacting us and our environment, and it is imperative that we focus on using and developing clean energy. I have told you what fossil fuels are and how they damage the environment, and I've pointed out some healthy alternatives for the environment that we should look into. The world needs to stay clear from we need to stay away from our reliance on fossil fuels if we want to leave a decent future for our future generations.